Okay, so we're going to change the alternator on the Sprinter. We've disconnected both terminals on the battery. Normally you just take off the negative, but because we've got a positive coming from the alternator straight to the battery, we don't want to short out anything to the engine while we're handling the alternator or going in there with spanners, so we take both the terminals off. So there's no way there's going to be any short connection, because you're talking a lot of amps there, and you know, you're into welding potential. You could have a big flash, bad burns, could really do some damage. So we've disconnected the battery. If you're lucky enough to have 3 studs and nuts on here, disconnect those, unclip the pipe there, take the heat shield off, that's your turbo, that's your water pump, and underneath that one, the very bottom pulley, is your alternator, and that's the baby we're looking for. Now the van's in gear and it's got its handbrake on, and if you prefer you can chock the wheels also, if you thought there was a danger of the van rolling at all. Probably better to be safe than sorry. So now we've got the battery off, the heat shield off, so we can see what we're doing. We need to be getting this belt off, serpentine belt, which, if you can remember, can be a bit of a trouble, because you're supposed to slacken it off on the tensioner and all this lot. If you look back in my other videos, I showed you a technique using an old serpentine belt, and it was simply a case of passing it through I say simply, things are never simple when you're trying to do them with one hand. We want to pass it through behind this belt, and I can't with one hand. I'll come back to you about that. Now, a good tip before I take the belt off, as you can see I've got the other belt now looped around, ready to pull, to take the tension off. A good thing to look for here is to always check the route and probably make a drawing of the route the belt goes around all these pulleys, because you don't want it going back on the wrong way and it coming off when you're driving, or snapping or something silly. So either take a photograph or draw it on a piece of cardboard, just so you've got a reference, because it can be confusing when you put it back on. So I'm going to attempt to do this with one hand. Whether it will work, I don't know. I'm going to take the tension off the serpentine belt. Wow. And what I can do now is I'll leave that used belt attached and bring it up to the top of the engine so that it's ready to put back on. I'll drop that belt off the bottom pulley, which is the alternator. There we go. See the alternator pulley at the bottom without anything on. So now we've got to look at unbolting and disconnecting the alternator. Okay, so underneath the van there's the alternator, and on the back of the alternator there's two wires. There's this one and there's the big wire, that's the one that goes straight to your battery. This is I think this is a control wire to say whether it's charging or not for your instrument panel, I'm not sure. But anyway, the big one is on a nut there, and you'll find some people take these off after they've got the alternator loose or hanging. I don't think that's a good idea. I think you're putting stress on fragile cables. That's a well, you have to take my word for it. That's a 14mm up there, and that one is an 8mm. So I'm going to undo those now. Before your very eyes. There's actually quite a lot of room under here to work. It's not as bad as I thought it might have been. So where are we? Voila. Now I have ordered a new alternator and it should be here in a couple of days. So this is all in preparation for the new one arriving, so it saves time when it gets here. It also means I can compare this one with the one that's coming in the post, which is also a very good idea. Never trust that you've ordered the right one or that they've sent the correct one. And this guy's a really long threaded. There we go. So that comes off there. Small crimp on the end of the wire. Put that back on so I know where it's come from. If it'll go back on. Got a bit of dirt and corrosion, but it's going to go back on it. Get a good few turns on that so it doesn't go missing. Yep, there we go, that's good. Right, next thing is the big cable, which is to be done with the socket. We have disconnected the battery positively earlier, so we're in no danger of causing any big flashes or sparks, which I can assure you would be not what we want. Put that in there. Now this is going to be a bit tighter. There we go. Sorry, that's a 13mm, not a 14. And it's tight. There we go. There we go. So as you can see, once it cracked, it's able to run it off with your fingers. There's no washers on that. And once again, put the nut back on. And the two wires can just go out of the way there. So, fixings for the alternator. There are two lower fixings there. And I'll try and there are two upper fixings, one there and one there, and these are Torx, female Torx. I'll just get it so I can see which one it is using my high quality video camera once more. We cannot read that, can we? Oh, can we? What's that say? E12? E12. They're an E12 fitting. Like that. So that's the inverted star bit whatever you want to call it, opposite of a Torx. I'm sure there's a proper name for it, but I don't know. If you want to leave it below, I'm interested. Honest. Right, so I'm going to pop the socket on there. And that appears to have gone. Second one. Oop, trying to look at this through the viewfinder of the camera. It's not always the best way. Come on, Scott. Oh, yeah. I'm sure there's a Torx setting to tighten these back up again when we refit, so I will check and see and come back to you with that. So we'll leave those just loose. Got that one there. Footer mucket. The technique here is to actually undo the alternator and loosen it all without dropping it on your face, because you're going to lose teeth if you've got any still. And also don't drop shit in your eyes. Now then, that's going to be a bit of a test. Right, I can't get that on there, so I'm going to have to get a swivel connection for my socket. Back in a bit. So, there, as you can see, I've got my swivel joint, which I will show you, but I can't find it at the moment to show you. But it's very useful. It meant I could go in at an angle and get that one. But as you can see, that's not going to come right out because that's in the way. So we'll leave that in for now. The fact is, it's not holding it in. I've took the other one out. That one, that's now out. And I'm just loosening these two off. Fully aware now that obviously there's only these two holding the alternator in place and stopping it from falling. So the weight of the alternator is now on these. I'm going to have to come back to you in a minute when I've got these two out, because I can't. I've got three hands. Bye for now. Oh, hello. Okay, so the 4 bolts are all the same size, same length. No need to specifically keep them in any order. That's the swivel. Let me get in at an angle. And there is the alternator, which I have to say, I've seen better days. It's caked and caked and caked in something. Bearings feel okay. You can actually, if you wanted to, you can take the backs off, and they have a diode pack in, a bridge rectifier to convert the voltage from AC to DC. Usually it's a diode pack that's gone on these things, and you can buy new ones. This is a Bosch, you can see there. It might be an option. It's a bit cheaper than replacing the alternator, but do bear in mind, I haven't replaced this. I've had the van 6 years, so all the time the engine's running, this is running very fast rate of knots, and the bearings in them. Actually, let's get that picked up then on something. So just bear in mind that the bearings have done a lot of work, so it might be cost effective short term just to get the bridge rectifier or the new electrode pack, or even the brushes. It could be at the back. The carbon brushes could have worn away, go onto the com, but the bearings have done all that work, so realistically they could fail at any point in the future also. So for me, I'm going to wait, get my new alternator, and I'll come back to you when I'm fitting it. Bye for now. Okay, so a weekend, a public holiday, and a couple of days later we've finally got the replacement alternator, which is a reconditioned one. I've not got the old one now because it's an exchange part, so the other ones had to go back. When I collected this one I dropped off that one, but it's all new and shiny. It's got the right connections on that we need. Quality control sticker. There's another sticker, 4801. Remanufactured in Poland, 12 volts. And it's got this on it, which is an overrun pulley, which I've not really heard much about. It's an overrunning pulley, alternator pulley, and you've got to leave the plastic cap on. If you don't leave the plastic cap on, you won't guarantee the pulley, the alternator. And it says that the pulley must be changed every 80 to 120,000 kilometres. It's a new pulley. And apparently the overrun pulley, for those who want to know, doesn't drive the alternator in a case of short shaft deceleration. It avoids excessive wear on the belt and limits the vibrations and sound nuisances. So there you go. So we're going to fit that now. So it's a reverse pretty much of what we did before. I'm going to offer this up, get the bolts in. Once the bolts are in, cables on the back, tighten those up, pulley back on, reconnect the battery, heat shield back on, and then we'll fire it up, and everything should be hunky-dory, I think. So I'll come back to you shortly. Okay, so you can see now we've got a green light again, which looks like it's flashing on the video camera. It's not, it's actually constant green in reality. And what we're going to do is we're going to put the multimeter across like we did before. You can remember we weren't getting the right voltage. We're going to see if we can get a good voltage now. And we'll disconnect that. Charger out of the way. And bring in the test meter, 20 DC. Put the probe in there, the black probe. Now I won't be able to plug it in, so I'll hold it for you. You see the screen? That's bright, we'll put the light on. See the difference? There we go, come out and I'll put the meter on, and what have we got there? 14.523 volts. That's charging well. That's the correct voltage for a working alternator charging into the battery. So once again, as you can see, I've just gone black lead to black lead, red lead to red lead. I'm on DC volts. So there we go, we've got the alternator in, it's charging, and all is going well. If you'd like to subscribe for more jobs like this. For some reason my van's always breaking down. I've also got a 1952 Ferguson tractor, mobilette from the 70s, and trailer, car, 3 or 4 lawn mowers, etc., chainsaws. I'm always doing things like this. Like and subscribe, or don't like, please leave comments and I'll try and answer them. And if you've got any constructive input that'll help other people, then by all means please leave that as well. Okay, see you next time.